A bit late to the party, but not to worry. Let's talk about one battle after another. Hi, my name's Stu and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Yes, so I finally got to see this. It was really difficult trying to find the time to watch one battle after another in cinemas. If you're not familiar, the film goes on for, because I just read the info, I think it's 162 minutes if I remember correctly. Quite a long film, so not really easy to fit it in the schedule, but fortunately my daughter was away for the weekend staying with relatives, and so my wife and I went to the cinemas. And not much was on at the time, so that's why we ended up seeing one battle after another. Obviously I was very curious to see it. I said something wrong to her at the time because for some reason I had it in my brain that this is the first time I'm actually getting to see a Paul Thomas Anderson film. Obviously I knew of him, you know, legendary director and writer. But for some reason I thought that, only to now discover that a bit later it's like, oh no, I've seen There Will Be Blood. I was like, yeah, I've seen that film. And now just because I thought I might, you know, should check his filmography. I saw he made The Master as well, which I have also seen. I've actually seen 2 of his previous films before. I know that's not nearly enough. I know I have to check all the others as well. I will make a mental note of getting round to doing that, right? So this film has had a lot of buzz surrounding it. You might have heard about it. There was a lot of talk, even about it maybe being Oscar worthy, and I mean, I'm also on that shelf. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it should get nominations in various departments. Quite tricky actually, because there's so many, just even the acting category alone is just amazing, you know. But yeah, definitely. It was quite I suppose Warner Brothers, who distributed the film, who financed it, made it, will consider it a bomb really at the box office because it cost over $180 million, which is crazy. I mean, seeing it, I mean, I can kind of get, you've got a lot of hardware, a lot of equipment, also military, etc. I mean, I'm still not quite sure why it costs that much money. I mean, you have got a de-aged Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and Sean Penn as well, but still it seemed like a bit much for this film. And as of recording, they've only taken in about 130 million at the box office. So, you know, that's not really that big of a success. So that's unfortunate, but I'm seeing, you know, I mean, right off the bat, if you have an opportunity to watch this film, you should absolutely do that for yourself. You know, it is really an experience, this film. What is it about? Let's talk about the plot first. I don't want to go into too many details. There are some twists that are really cool, and I think you'll benefit more of these twists if you witness them as you're watching the film. But to give the most brief rundown of what happens, we are focused on a terrorist group. They're called the French 75, I believe. They're a sort of far-left terrorist group trying to get the government, you know, to look after refugees, let them in the country, all these kind of things. And they're, as I said, a terrorist group, so their methods are quite extreme, as you might imagine. This is this is shown in particular, right, just to get my sentence correct, yeah, by a person portrayed by Tiana Taylor. She is this really fierce, very, I'll call her dominant woman. We've also got Leonardo DiCaprio. His character's name is Bob. Her name, by the way, Tiana Taylor's name is Perfidia. And so they through this joint venture, I'll call it, they become a couple. Like I say, she is very dominant in this whole thing, so exactly the right person I suppose you need to lead a terrorist group. They are being hunted down by Sean Penn's character. He is a military officer called Lockjaw, and yeah, she humiliates him during one of their operations, and he then tries to get his revenge, right? She, through various circumstances, disappears, and then we have a time jump. You know, the terrorist group, they have to, obviously, as you can imagine, at some point they have to disband. So the story picks up years and years later, and we are still with Bob and his daughter. I mean, we did see before, they both had a child together, and he is with this daughter played by Chase Infinity. Her name is Willa in the story, and he is still the same. He's incredibly paranoid. You know, while they tried to cover their tracks, he knows the government's still out there, and there might be some chance of them somehow, you know, having to go through all of this again. She obviously thinks he's a bit of a nut job because of it, because, I mean, if your dad's like, you know, you're not allowed to have a phone and this, that, and the next thing, yeah, it'll be a bit strange. Through circumstances, I'll call them. Again, it's some of the twists you really want to discover for yourself. This military officer Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn, suddenly reappears, right? And he re-enters Bob's life. And that is basically the story that we've got. So he is trying to evade Lockjaw, trying to get Willa to stay away from him as well, because obviously, you know, if he's got a kid, that is very dangerous as well if you're being hunted, etc. And that is what the film is about. So he and his daughter are trying to evade capture by this Lockjaw, who finds it really difficult to give up this grudge. That's pretty much all I'll tell you. We have got, I mean, as far as, you know, if you're like, okay, well, what does that look like? Well, we've really got them going from one place to the next, and it is really, in that sense, it's like a thriller, you could say, because we were really, for a very long time, without it being boring, I don't mean long as in, oh God, you know, it's terrible, just as in how long it goes for, we see especially Bob tried to get out of all sorts of situations, right? Yeah, so that is what I'll tell you about the plot. That is the main gist of it. Ex-terrorist, if you want to call it, word it like that, is trying to evade the government, right? And trying to save his daughter as well from getting, you know, too involved in the situation, I'll call it. Now, the film was not just directed, but also written by Paul Thomas Anderson, and I think it's fantastic because despite its long length, you're just, you know, your eyes are glued to the screen because it just keeps going. That's, I mean, the name is very fitting, one battle after another, because it really feels like, you know, out of the frying pan into, you know, into the fire, basically, a lot of the time. And we're going from one situation to the next, and you're like, oh God, you know, and this is escalating, and there's getting out of hand, and all these kind of things. So it's really done amazingly. The direction is wonderful as well. There's one sequence that a lot of people mention, and I have to just add that, my voice to that as well. There's this, towards the end, towards the end, there's this incredible chase sequence, car chase, and the camera work is so interesting. It's like, why has no one ever done this before? It seems so obvious, but especially when you're in the cinema, it's like, oh, whoa, you know? It almost feels a bit like an optical illusion, like you're there with them in the car. It's really interesting. So that in particular is something you need to watch out for if you're watching a film, but you won't miss it. So that is really cool. So yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson has done really incredible work here. I thought it was brilliant. The actors are all amazing. I mean, I've mentioned Leonardo DiCaprio, I've mentioned Sean Penn, I've mentioned Tiana Taylor, I've also mentioned Chase Infinity. All of them are incredible. I mean, it's really difficult because, I mean, like Tiana Taylor, as you can imagine, she really dominates the first section of the film. Not just her character, but, you know, just the performance is just so powerful. You're like, okay, yeah, I'd do anything she says as well, you know. But, you know, I love that. Sean Penn, he is so menacing. It's incredible. And despite his age, you know, he's very rigid. Just the whole mannerism, how he, you know, behaves, how he walks and everything. It's done so well. Leonardo DiCaprio, I thought, well, at times is very funny. He's got a sort of a bit of a comic relief role because, as you can imagine, if you're living so long with these fears and paranoia, and then he's also a pothead, and he gets into so many funny situations. I had to laugh so much. I thought it was brilliant. And you also have Benicio del Toro in here. He plays Willa's karate instructor, and he's so good in this as well. I love watching him, but he's really good. He helps them a bit. And just all of the scenes involving him are amazing too. So there's just so many cool people in here playing, and other people as well. You know, it's really difficult to pick out individuals to say, you know, nominate these people, right? But if possible, I'd say, you know, all worthy. right? The last thing I want to touch upon is the music. Music was done by Johnny Greenwood. I'm not familiar with him, but he's a member of Radiohead, who I do know at least in name. Very interesting work because you've got a lot of piano stuff going on. And the music is always there. It's like I don't know, to me it was a very interesting soundtrack. It felt very unusual. You don't have, you know, the big orchestra, etc. You've got rather minimal in terms of instruments used, especially the piano. And it just accompanies long sequences, so it keeps going, and it really keeps the tension up as well. My wife found it a bit distracting. Sometimes it is very loud and very much in the foreground of what you're watching. I thought it was brilliant. To me, it fit exactly what was going on, and like I say, it just keeps you tense all the time, and I thought it was brilliant, and it fits so well with what's going on, because while it was ever present, for some reason it really did not distract. It didn't take away from the action. It really just sort of was this underlying layer that just really, again, kept it tense, and I really appreciated that. So the music itself I thought was really interesting. It wasn't my typical, because usually, I mean, I love the soundtracks, you know, like Hans Zimmer, you know, you've got the big booming, you know, massive soundscapes and stuff like that, you know, thinking of Dune or something like that. But I find myself really appreciating this approach as well. It's really, really cool. I really enjoy that a lot. It's just, you know, you can do so much with one single instrument. It's just a bit like, I feel reminded of The Social Network and Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, what they did there as well. Really interesting stuff. So yes, this is a really cool film. I enjoyed it massively. It is really interesting. Don't be you know, distracted or at least dissuaded, sorry, that's the word I'm looking for, dissuaded by the long run time. It goes over so quickly because there's so much happening. You'll laugh and you'll be grossed out by things. Sean Penn, like I say, amazing. There's so many emotions you go through. So if you can, absolutely watch this film. That'll be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say about one battle after another, or maybe any other Paul Thomas Anderson films. You know, like I said, I've only seen The Master and Let There Be Blood. If you've got any other recommendations, you're like, oh, you need to watch this one first, please share that down below. Well, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care.